Each week at this time we're presenting Self-Knowledge, a series of 14 lectures by the unique teacher and worldwide lecturer, J. Krishnamurti, who invites you to confront inner reality and thus find a richer life. The topic for today is immortality, truth, tranquility.
I'm sure many of you believe in immortality, the soul or the Atman, and so on. And perhaps some of you have had a passing experience of these things. But I would like, if I may, this morning to approach it from a different point of view. And before I do that, to understand it, please do not brush it aside. Let us go into it very seriously and earnestly and discover the truth of it. Not according to any particular pattern of belief or religious dogma or your own personal experience, however vast and however beautiful and romantic it may be. So, please examine what we're going to discuss intelligently without any prejudice, with the intention to find out rather than to reject or to defend. Because it's quite a difficult problem to discuss. The implications are many, and if one can think of it anew, perhaps we shall have a different approach to action and to life. We seem to think that ideas are very important. Our minds are filled with ideas. Our mind is idea. There is no mind without idea, without thought, without verbalization. And ideas have play an extraordinarily important part in our lives. What we think, what we feel, the beliefs and ideas in which we are conditioned. And ideas have an extraordinary significance with most of us. Ideas which seem coherent, intelligent, and logical, and also ideas that are romantic, stupid, without much significance. We are crowded. Our whole structure is on ideas. And these ideas come into being, obviously, through outside, external influences, environmental conditioning, as well as inward demands. And we can see very well how ideas come into being. Because ideas are sensations. There is no idea without sensation. As most of us are sentient beings, our whole structure is based on sensations. And being limited or seeking expansion through sensation, ideas become very important. Ideas in God, ideas in morality, ideas in various forms of social organization and so on and so on. So ideas shape our experience. Which is an obvious fact. Which means ideas condition our action. Not that action creates ideas, but ideas create action. First we think it out and then act. And the action based on ideas. So experience is the outcome of idea. And experience is different from experiencing. In the state of experiencing, if you have noticed at all, there is no ideation at all. There is merely an experiencing, acting. Later on comes the ideation, derived from that experience of like and dislike, to have that experience continued or not continued, to go back to the experience in memory, which is this demand for sensation of that experience, not experiencing anew. Surely there is a difference between experiencing and experience, and that should be made fairly clear. Experiencing is in which there is no experiencer and the experience. There is only a state of experiencing. And after experiencing, the sensations of that experiencing is demanded, is longed for. And out of that desire arises idea. Say, for example, you have had an experience, pleasure, and it's over, and you are longing for it, which is, you are longing for the sensation, not the state of experiencing. And sensation creates ideas based on pleasure and pain, avoidance and acceptance, denial or continuance. Now if ideas are not basically important, because one sees ideas have continuance. You may die, but the ideas that you have had, the bundle of ideas which you are, they have a continuance, either partially or wholly, either fully manifested or little, but they have a form of continuance, obviously. So, if ideas are the result of sensations, which they are, of which our mind is filled, of which the mind is, then there is a continuance of the mind as a bundle of ideas. But that surely is not immortality. Because ideas are merely the result of sensations of pleasure and displeasure, or not pleasure. And immortality must be something which is beyond ideas, upon which the mind cannot possibly speculate. Because it can only speculate in terms of pleasure and pain, avoidance or acceptance. As it can only think in those terms, however extensively, however deeply, it is still based on an idea. And though idea has continuance, and that which continues is obviously not immortality. So, to know or to experience immortality or the experiencing of that state, there must be no ideation. One cannot think about immortality. And if one can be free of ideation, that is, if we do not think in terms of ideas, which means live in the state of experiencing only, then there is a state in which ideation has stopped altogether. You can experiment with this yourself and not accept what I'm saying, because there is a great deal involved in this, which means the mind must be entirely quiet. Neither a movement backward or forward, or delving in or soaring. Which means ideation must entirely cease. And that's extremely difficult. And that's why we cling to words like the soul, immortality, continuance, God. They have all neurological effects, and which are sensations. And on these sensations the mind feeds. And deprive the mind of these things, it's lost. So it holds on with greater strength to experiences which are sensations, to past experiences which have now become sensations. And is it possible for the mind to be so quiet, not partially but in its totality, to have direct experience of that which is not thinkable, which cannot be put into words? Because for that which continues, and is it possible for the mind to be so quiet, not partially but in its totality,